I was standing outside hotel room 718, my heart hammering against my ribs, when I typed the text that would end my 22-year marriage. "I'm outside your door. Open up." The silence that followed told me everything I needed to know about the woman I thought I knew. My name is Richard Pierce. I'm 57 years old, been married to my wife Catherine for 22 years, and we have two great kids. Anthony's 17 now, a senior in high school who's grown taller than me and drives better than I do. Rachel's my 12-year-old sweetheart who still thinks her dad can fix anything. But standing in that hotel hallway in Boston, I realized there were some things even I couldn't repair. Let me back up and tell you how we got here. That Wednesday morning started like any other during Catherine's business trips. Me trying to wrangle the kids through breakfast before school, Anthony scrolling through his phone, Rachel picking at her cereal, and me gulping down coffee like it was the elixir of life. Catherine had been gone for 6 days on a consulting job in Boston, 2 more to go, 8 days total, longer than her usual trips, and we were all feeling it. I've been an insurance sales manager for 15 years, steady work that's provided well for our family, but Catherine's consulting career has really taken off these past few years. The money's good, but the travel has increased significantly. More conferences, more client meetings, more nights away from home. I told myself it was just the nature of her business, but looking back, I wonder if I was just too trusting. The idea hit me like a thunderbolt while watching Rachel push her Cheerios around the bowl. "Hey, what if we went to see Mom this weekend?" I said, setting down my mug. Rachel's eyes lit up like Christmas morning. "Really? To Boston?" "Yeah," I nodded, feeling the excitement build. "We could book flights today, be there by Friday evening." Imagine her face when she opens her hotel door. Anthony finally looked up from his phone. "That would actually be pretty cool," he said, which from a teenager is practically jumping for joy. By noon, I'd called in a favor at work to take Friday off, arranged for the kids to miss school, and booked 3 tickets to Boston. The whole time I kept picturing Catherine's face, the shock, the joy, maybe tears. I hadn't surprised her like this in years, and with Anthony graduating soon and Rachel growing up fast, family time felt more precious than ever. I tried calling Catherine that morning, but it went straight to voicemail. Not unusual during her intensive consulting sessions, I told myself. I sent a text. "Miss you. Kids asking when you're coming home. Love you." No response, which was a little strange, but I figured she was just swamped. Boston was hosting a major business conference, and Catherine was a shark in high heels when it came to landing new clients. The consulting world was competitive, and she'd been under pressure to bring in bigger accounts. As I packed our bags that evening, I tried her again. Still nothing. A small knot formed in my stomach, but I dismissed it. Catherine and I had been married for 22 years. We'd had our ups and downs like any couple, but she'd never gone this long without communication. She always made time for the kids, at least. That night, as I tucked Rachel in, she clutched her favorite stuffed bunny to her chest. "Do you think Mommy will cry when she sees us?" she asked, eyes wide with anticipation. "Maybe, sweetheart," I said, kissing her forehead. "It's going to be the best surprise ever." I had no idea then how wrong I was. No idea that the surprise waiting in Boston wasn't ours to give, but rather one that would shatter our family into pieces. The flight to Boston felt like an eternity. Anthony had his headphones on, lost in whatever music teenagers listen to these days. Rachel chatted nonstop about all the things she wanted to tell her mom, while I sat between them fighting an increasing sense of unease. I tried calling Catherine 3 more times before we boarded. Nothing. Just straight to voicemail, not even a ring. I sent another text. "Hope your meetings are going well. Miss you." The delivered notification appeared, but no response came. "Dad, why are you checking your phone every 5 seconds?" Anthony asked, briefly pulling off his headphones. Kid never missed a thing. "Just making sure our rental car is confirmed," I lied, forcing a smile. But the truth was, something felt off. When we landed at Logan Airport, I tried once more, voicemail again. I left a message this time, keeping my tone light. "Hey babe, just checking in. Give me a call when you get a chance." The rental car process was a nightmare. Wrong reservation, long lines, Rachel needing the bathroom twice. By the time we hit the road toward downtown Boston, it was already past 8 p.m. Rush hour traffic had cleared, but the city streets were alive with Thursday night energy. "Dad, I'm hungry," Rachel whined from the back seat. Me too, Anthony chimed in, finally engaged in something besides his phone. Can we eat before we see Mom? Let's get to the hotel first, I said, my knuckles white on the steering wheel. Maybe Mom can join us for a late dinner. As we neared the Marriott where Catherine was staying, that knot in my stomach tightened. I tried calling once more, and this time, oddly, it rang, but still no answer. The hotel's revolving doors welcomed us with a whoosh of warm air. The lobby was elegant, with marble floors and soft lighting. Anthony and Rachel looked around, impressed by the upscale surroundings. My wife always stayed at nice places on her company's dime. Why don't you guys wait here, I told them, pointing to some plush couches. I'll check us in and find out which room Mom's in. Rachel bounced on her toes. Can we surprise her right away? I nodded, forcing enthusiasm I no longer felt. That's the plan, sweetheart. As I approached the front desk, I had no idea I was walking toward the moment that would change everything. Good evening, sir. How can I help you? The receptionist, a young woman with a professional smile, greeted me. I cleared my throat. I'd like to check in, and I also need to get in touch with my wife who's staying here, Catherine Pierce. Her fingers danced across the keyboard. Let me check that for you. A moment passed. Yes, Mrs. Pierce is staying with us. Would you like me to ring her room? Please, I said, relief washing over me. At least Catherine was here. The receptionist dialed, waited, then frowned slightly. I'm sorry, sir, there's no answer. Can you try again? I asked, that knot in my stomach tightening. Maybe she didn't hear it. She tried once more with the same result. I'm sorry, there's still no answer. Would you like to leave a message? No, that's okay. I handed over my credit card. We'll just check in for now. My wife is expecting us. Sort of. It's a surprise visit. A flicker of hesitation, crossed her face. I see. Well, let me get you set up. She processed our reservation, then handed me 2 key cards. You're in room 732. Mrs. Pierce is in 718. Different floors? I asked, confused. No, same floor, just down the hall from each other. She paused, then added, It looks like Mrs. Pierce checked in with a +1, though. The world stopped spinning for a moment. A +1? What do you mean? The receptionist's expression shifted to discomfort. The reservation shows 2 guests in the room. I assumed... I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said anything. I forced a laugh that sounded hollow even to my own ears. No, that's fine. Probably a colleague sharing the room to save on expenses. But I knew better. Catherine's company always sprung for private rooms for its consultants. It was a point of pride for them, something she'd mentioned many times. A work friend, a female colleague, or... I couldn't bring myself to complete the thought. I collected our bags and walked back to Anthony and Rachel, my mind racing. Did you find Mom? Rachel asked, bouncing with excitement. Not yet, sweetheart. Let's go up to our room first and freshen up. The elevator ride was silent except for Rachel's humming. Anthony shot me a look. He sensed something was off, but thankfully kept quiet. Our room was nice, standard high-end hotel fare. I set the bags down and took a deep breath. Can we go see Mom now? Rachel pleaded. In a minute. Why don't you wash up? It's been a long day. While they were occupied, I slipped into the hallway and walked to room 718. My heart hammered against my ribs as I raised my hand to knock. No answer. I knocked again, harder this time. Still nothing, but I could hear movement inside. Faint music. The sound of laughter. 2 distinct voices, one male, one female. My blood ran cold. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, listening to the sounds of my wife with another man. The muffled, the wah. Conversation, the intimate laughter that I recognized as hers. How many nights had I heard that same laugh over dinner, during movies, when she was relaxed and happy? Now it was directed at someone else, someone who didn't know she had a husband and children waiting at home. I pulled out my phone and typed, I'm outside your hotel room door. Open up. My finger hovered over the send button for a moment, knowing that once I pressed it, there would be no going back. Whatever was happening on the other side of the door would become real, undeniable. The movement inside stopped abruptly after I sent the message. Then, a muffled male voice asking something I couldn't make out, followed by Catherine's urgent whisper. I closed my eyes, suddenly certain of what I would find on the other side of that door. 22 years of marriage, 2 beautiful children, a life we'd built together, All of it hanging in the balance because of whatever was happening in room 718. My hands were shaking as I waited, and for a brief moment, I considered walking away, pretending I'd never seen the +1 notation, never heard the laughter, never sent that text. But I couldn't. I owed it to myself, to Anthony and Rachel, to know the truth. The door handle turned, and I braced myself for whatever came next. This was the moment that would divide my life into before and after. The moment when the man who trusted completely would become the man who knew better. The door to room 718 opened slowly, revealing Catherine in a hotel bathrobe, her hair disheveled, face flushed. Her expression cycled through shock, fear, and finally settled on something that looked strangely like annoyance. "Richard, what are you doing here?" she hissed, stepping into the hallway and pulling the door nearly closed behind her. I stared at her, momentarily speechless. The woman I'd been married to for 22 years, the mother of my children, standing there in a hotel bathrobe with another man's scent, lingering on her skin. After a beat, I found my voice. "Surprise?" I said flatly. "The kids and I thought we'd come see you." Her eyes widened. "The kids are here?" "At the hotel, in our room down the hall." My voice sounded distant even to myself. "They've been excited all day to see you." Catherine ran a hand through her hair, glancing nervously back at her door. "You should have called first, Richard. You should have called first." "I did, multiple times." I crossed my arms. "Who's in your room, Catherine?" She flinched at the direct question. "It's not what you think." "Really? Because I think you have another man in there. Am I wrong?" The door opened wider, and a man appeared behind her, tall, fit, maybe early 40s. He was buttoning up his shirt, and the casual way he did it told me this wasn't the first time he'd been dressing in my wife's hotel room. "Catherine, is everything okay out here?" My vision tunneled, focusing on this stranger who called my wife by her first name. The familiarity in his voice, the comfortable way he stood behind her, it all painted a picture I didn't want to see but couldn't ignore. "Who the hell are you?" I demanded, my voice dangerously quiet. "Richard, please," Catherine started, but I cut her off. "No, I want to hear from him." I stepped closer. "Who are you, and why are you in my wife's hotel room?" The man looked confused, glancing between Catherine and me. "I'm Nicholas Hayes, from the Chicago office." He extended his hand automatically, then thought better of it and withdrew it. "I didn't know Catherine was married." The words hit me like a physical blow. I turned to Catherine, who had the decency to look ashamed, but not ashamed enough. "You told him you were single?" My voice was barely a whisper now. Catherine closed her eyes briefly. "Can we please not do this in the hallway?" "Nicholas, maybe you should go," I said, my anger finding its target. "Yeah," Nicholas agreed, raising his hands in surrender. "Look, man, I had no idea. She never mentioned a husband or kids." He grabbed his jacket from inside the room. "I'm out of here." He hurried past us down the hallway, leaving Catherine and me alone in a silence so thick it felt suffocating. I watched him disappear around the corner, this stranger who'd been intimate with my wife, who thought she was available, who had no idea he was helping destroy a family. 22 years, Catherine," I finally said. 22 years, and you're picking up guys on business trips? "It's not like that," she snapped, her shame morphing into defensiveness. "You don't understand." "Then explain it to me," I challenged. "Explain why our children flew across the country to surprise their mother, only to find her with another man." She looked away, and I could see her mind working, trying to find the right words to make this somehow acceptable. "You should have called first." Those words, the audacity of them, broke something in me. Here, I was, standing in a hotel hallway after discovering my wife with another man, and she was making it my fault for not giving her a heads up. "Are you serious right now? This is my fault because I didn't warn you before catching you cheating?" "Lower your voice," she hissed, glancing down the hallway. "The kids are waiting," I said, stepping back. "Rachel has been bouncing off the walls all day about seeing you. Anthony drove us here because he wanted to be part of surprising you. What do you want me to tell them?" Guilt finally seemed to register on her face, but it was fleeting, quickly replaced by that same defensive anger. "Give me 5 minutes to get dressed. I'll come to your room." I turned to walk away, then paused. The question I was afraid to ask burned in my throat, but I had to know. "How long has this been going on, Catherine?" She couldn't meet my eyes. This was just a one-time thing, a mistake. Nicholas's words echoed in my head. I didn't know Catherine was... I married. You don't tell someone you're single if it's just a one-time mistake. You don't develop that kind of comfortable intimacy overnight. Save it, I said. You can explain it to the kids. As I walked back to our room to face our children, I felt like I was moving through water. Each step required enormous effort, my body suddenly heavy with the weight of what had just happened. How was I supposed to face Anthony and Rachel now? How was I supposed to pretend everything was okay when our entire family had just imploded in a hotel hallway? The key card beeped and I pushed the door open, forcing my face into something resembling normalcy. Dad, did you find Mom? Rachel jumped up from the bed where she'd been watching TV. Anthony looked up from his phone, eyes narrowing as he studied my expression. What's wrong? He asked immediately. Too perceptive for his own good, that kid. Mom's coming in a few minutes, I managed. She was surprised to see us. Rachel clapped her hands. Is she happy? Did she cry? She was definitely surprised, I said, avoiding Anthony's searching gaze. Hey, why don't we order some room service? You guys must be hungry after the flight. Already ahead of you, Anthony said, still watching me carefully. We ordered burgers and fries. And chocolate cake, Rachel added, bouncing on the bed. I nodded, trying to smile. The normalcy of it all, my children excited about room service, Rachel's infectious enthusiasm, Anthony's teenage pragmatism, felt surreal against what I'd just discovered down the hall. A knock at the door made Rachel leap up. Mom's here! Before I could stop her, she flung open the door and launched herself at Catherine, who stood in the hallway looking completely composed. Hair brushed, makeup fixed, wearing a professional outfit. If I hadn't seen her 10 minutes ago in a bathrobe with a half-dressed man, I would never have guessed anything was amiss. Mommy, Rachel squealed, wrapping her arms around Catherine's waist. Sweetheart, Catherine said, hugging her back. What a surprise to see you all here. Her eyes met mine over Rachel's head, and I saw the silent plea in them. Play along for the kids. Anthony hadn't moved from his spot on the bed. Hey, Mom, he said, his tone carefully neutral. Catherine crossed the room and kissed the top of his head. Hey, buddy, you've grown since I left, I swear. It's been a week, Mom, he replied dryly. An awkward silence followed, broken by Rachel's enthusiastic recounting of our journey. Catherine listened and nodded, occasionally glancing at me, but I couldn't bring myself to meet her eyes. I kept seeing Nicholas buttoning his shirt, hearing him say he didn't know she was married. Dad said we could all have dinner together, Rachel finished. Catherine's smile faltered slightly. That sounds wonderful, but I actually have a work dinner tonight. Important clients. I barked out a laugh that I quickly disguised as a cough. Rachel's face fell. But we came all this way to see you, she protested. I know, honey, and I'm so happy you did. I'll be all yours tomorrow, I promise. We can see the sights, do whatever you want. Catherine turned to me. Can I talk to you in the hallway for a minute, Richard? Anthony rolled his eyes. Real subtle, Mom. I followed Catherine outside, making sure to leave the door slightly ajar in case Rachel needed me. Work dinner? I said once we were alone. Is that what you're calling it now? Catherine's artificial composure cracked slightly. Richard, please, I need time to figure this out. Figure what out? How to lie to your family? Because you seem to have that down pat. She flinched as if I'd slapped her. That's not fair. Not fair? I kept my voice low, mindful of the kids just inside. You know what's not fair, Catherine. Our daughter made us check 3 different stores for her favorite travel pillow so she could bring it to you. Anthony actually put his phone down long enough to help me book the flights. Do you have any idea how excited they were to see you? Her eyes welled with tears, but I wasn't buying it anymore. Richard, I made a terrible mistake. I know that. But please don't tell the kids, not yet. So I'm supposed to pretend everything's fine? Put on a show while you go back to your client dinner? It really is a client dinner, she insisted. Nicholas won't be there. I need this account, Richard. It's worth millions to the firm. I stared at her, realizing I didn't even recognize the woman standing before me. Your career? That's what you're worried about right now? No, of course not, she rubbed her temples. I'm trying to salvage whatever I can from this disaster. Please, Richard, one night. Let me get through this dinner, and then tomorrow we can figure everything out. There's nothing to figure out, I said flatly. You cheated on me. You lied to our children. You've been living a double life, and I don't even know for how long." She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. It wasn't a double life. It was one mistake. But Nicholas's words kept echoing in my head. I didn't know Catherine was married. You don't have casual conversations about marital status during a one-night stand. You don't develop that kind of comfortable intimacy overnight. "Save it," I said, turning back toward our room. "Go to your dinner. I'll take care of the kids." "What will you tell them?" she asked anxiously. "I haven't decided yet." My hand rested on the door handle. "But unlike you, I don't lie to my children." Back inside, Rachel was bouncing on the bed, excitement radiating from her like sunshine. "Is Mom coming to dinner with us?" I swallowed hard. "Not tonight, sweetheart. Mom has an important work thing she can't miss." Rachel's face fell, and the sight of her disappointment made my chest ache. "But we came all this way to surprise her," she said, her voice small. "I know, honey," I said, sitting beside her and pulling her close. And she was definitely surprised. She just has to finish her work first. But guess what? She's all ours tomorrow, the whole day. Rachel, ever the optimist, bounced back quickly. "Can we go see the Boston Harbor tonight instead? My friend Emma said there are cool lights and boats." The thought of playing tourist while my marriage imploded seemed impossible, but Rachel's hopeful face broke my resolve. "Sure, why not? Let's finish dinner and then check it out." "Sweet!" She grabbed another French fry from the room service tray. "This is still the best surprise ever, Dad." Curtis caught my eye over his phone and raised an eyebrow, silently calling me on my act. I gave him a slight shake of my head, a promise to explain later. He nodded, almost imperceptibly. At 17, he was already more man than boy, and in that moment I was grateful for his perceptiveness. That night, as we walked along the harbor, Rachel skipping ahead and pointing out every boat she saw, Anthony fell into step beside me. "Mom's cheating, isn't she?" he asked quietly. I nearly stumbled, caught off guard by his directness. "What makes you think that?" "The way you're acting, the way she looked at you. Plus, when you left to find Mom, you came back looking like someone died." I looked at my son, tall, serious, suddenly so grown up. "I don't want to lie to you," I said quietly, "but this is complicated adult stuff." "I'm not a child, Dad," he said firmly. "I'd rather know the truth than wonder what's happening to our family." I took a deep breath. "Yes," I admitted. "I found your mother with another man." Anthony's jaw tightened, but he didn't look particularly surprised. I figured, ever since she started this consulting thing, she's been different, always on her phone, staying late, taking more trips. The confirmation hit me like a wave of nausea. Had everyone seen what was happening except me? "You noticed that?" "Yeah, and so did you probably. You just didn't want to believe it." His voice held no accusation, just a sad understanding beyond his years. Rachel called to us from ahead, waving excitedly. "Dad, Anthony, come look at this boat. It has a helicopter on it." "Be right there, sweetheart," I called back, forcing enthusiasm into my voice. Anthony kicked at a loose stone. "What happens now? Are you guys getting divorced?" The word felt like a punch to the gut. "I don't know yet, buddy. This just happened. But whatever happens between your mom and me, nothing changes how much we both love you and Rachel," he scoffed. "If she loved us, she wouldn't have done this." "It's not that simple," I said, though part of me agreed with him. "Adults mess up sometimes, make terrible mistakes." "This isn't like forgetting to pay the electric bill, Dad," Anthony said, his voice hard. "She chose this." We reached Rachel, who was pressed against the harbor railing. I lifted her onto my shoulders so she could see better, grateful for her innocent enthusiasm. As she chattered away about the yacht, Anthony stood slightly apart, his teenage face suddenly much older. I could see him processing everything, deciding how he felt about it all. "Don't tell Rachel," he said quietly when she was distracted by a passing boat. "She still thinks Mom's perfect." "I won't," I promised. "Not yet anyway, but we'll have to figure this out eventually." He nodded, then surprised me by leaning slightly against my side, the closest thing to a hug I'd gotten from him in years. "We'll be okay, Dad. You, me, and Rachel." In that moment, my 17-year-old son was trying to comfort me, and it nearly broke me. But it also gave me strength. We would be okay. Somehow. "Yeah," I said, putting my arm around his shoulders. "We will." The next morning, Catherine returned to our room with coffee and pastries, acting like nothing had happened. She played the loving mother perfectly, asking about Rachel's sleep, complimenting Anthony on his mature handling of the situation. But I could see through it now, see the performance for what it was. We spent the day doing tourist things, the Freedom Trail, Faneuil Hall, the harbor again. Catherine was attentive, engaged, everything a mother should be. If I hadn't known better, I might have thought it was just another family vacation. But I did know better now. I saw the way she checked her phone when she thought we weren't looking. I noticed how she positioned herself so the kids couldn't see the screen. On the flight home, I made my decision. I couldn't pretend anymore. Couldn't live in a marriage built on lies. Couldn't model that kind of relationship for my children. I deserve better. They deserve better. 3 weeks later, Catherine and I sat across from each other in our kitchen, divorce papers between us. She'd moved into an apartment downtown. Anthony still barely spoke to her. Rachel was finally beginning to understand, in her 12-year-old way, that Mommy and Daddy wouldn't be living together anymore. I never wanted this, Catherine said quietly, pen hovering over the signature line. Neither did I admitted. But here we are. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? Her eyes, once so familiar, now seemed to belong to a stranger. I considered the question carefully. Someday, maybe. For the kids' sake. But some things can't be undone, Catherine. She nodded, accepting this truth, and signed her name. As I watched her go, I felt an unexpected lightness. The pain wasn't gone, far from it. But for the first time since that fateful day in Boston, I could see a future beyond the betrayal, a new beginning for me and my children. We would be okay, different, but okay. Because sometimes the worst discoveries lead to the most necessary truths, and sometimes protecting your family means admitting when the foundation you built your life on was never as solid as you believed.